Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before we begin this series, I want to offer my prostrated obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times at the lotus feet of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who by his unlimited, causeless mercy and compassion traveled around on this planet in his ripe old age, giving the nectar of the holy name and the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam far and wide, in places where even the concept of God wasn't prevalent. In Vedic culture, the stories of Gajendra, the stories of Draupadi, the stories of Dhruva, the stories of Prahlad, the stories of Agasur, Bakasur, etc., everything building up to the 10th canto, and then the 11th canto and the 12th canto are famous. But Srila Prabhupada gave all of that a twist with a two-point analysis. One, Srila Prabhupada gave the practical application of all these stories, verse by verse, with his Bhaktivedanta purports, what the sadhakas can gain from the pastime as it proceeds in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is one. Because the stories are well known, but the instructions and the practical lessons out of them are seldom discussed. So Srila Prabhupada in his purports has given many beautiful, fascinating points in all of these purports. So this is the first point. And the second point is, Srila Prabhupada has given all these stories as a wonderful viewpoint from the heart of a Brajvasi. Someone who has lived in Vrindavan for 10 years, chanting the holy name lakhs and lakhs of times. It is described actually that the residents in Vrindavan around Radha Damodar temple who saw Srila Prabhupada do bhajan for 10 years, they give their heartfelt appreciation and they express their feelings on what they witnessed in those 10 years, including the milk seller who lived opposite Radha Damodar, or the great Hridayananda Das Babaji Maharaj living in Radhakund, who was very close to Srila Prabhupada while he lived in Radha Damodar, or so many other Gaudiya Math sadhus and other sadhus also, Nimbarki sadhus in Vrindavan. They were really astonished because they had never seen anyone do bhajan like that, really crying and weeping. In fact, it is described Srila Prabhupada would chant constantly. One person describes in his remembrances of Srila Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada chanted 3 lakh holy names every day, which is 300,000 names of Krishna like Haridas Thakur. So Srila Prabhupada chanted 192 rounds every single day for 10 years. And he goes on to describe that Srila Prabhupada would never speak a word. He would keep maun all day. From morning up to evening, he would not speak a word. He would hardly come out of his room because he would be chanting, and when you peep into his room, you will see him write something or read from the Sanskrit manuscripts, the commentaries and other works in Bengali by the predecessor Gaudiya Acharyas. Srila Prabhupada was preparing his purports on the basis of what the Acharyas in the past have given, and also on the basis of the realization that he was receiving by chanting the holy name. And then in the evening, Srila Prabhupada would come out and have little fruit and little milk or some little water, would eat very little. So literally the life of Raghunath Das Goswami and the life of Haridas Thakur was exemplified and personified by Srila Prabhupada in Radha Damodar. So for 10 years, Srila Prabhupada chanted 300,000 names of Krishna every day, finishing the vrat of 1 billion holy names like his Gurudev, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then what came out in his heart, what was erupting in his heart by this Nam Bhajan is what he penned down in his Bhaktivedanta purports. So this is the deep meaning of Prabhupada saying that the Bhaktivedanta purports are my transcendental ecstasies. So the expression of those ecstasies are those purports. But where is the ecstasy coming from? It is coming by Akhand Dhamvas, 10 years of Dhamvas, and Akhand Nam Seva. So in this way, we bow down to Srila Prabhupada, who with the heart of a Brajbasi, with the eyes of a Brajbasi, with the lifestyle of a Brajbasi, presented all the pastimes, even outside Vrindavan, like Prahlad Maharaj, like Gajendra, etc., but with the viewpoint of a Brajbasi. So Prabhupada, point number 1, gave the practical analysis of all these pastimes, and point number 2 spoke from the viewpoint of a Brajvasi, how the whole Srimad Bhagavatam looks like. So first and foremost, before I attempt to be the medium, the representative of my Gurudev in serving this Hari Katha, I want to bow down at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, who first of all blessed the world with his unlimited compassion. If Prabhupada wouldn't have done what he did, we would probably be doing something else right now. But the fact that we are all sitting together and in a national call, congregating and discussing about an elephant who was divinely empowered and who got protected by Sri Hari's mercy, this is certainly an expression, this is certainly a proof and evidence of Srila Prabhupada's love and affection for the whole world. Srila Prabhupada actually turned the tides of Maya by a few thousand years. If Prabhupada wouldn't have crossed the sea and come to give Krishna consciousness, we wouldn't have had so many temples, we wouldn't have had so many programs, we wouldn't have had so many books and so many kirtans and so many prasadam plates and so many beautiful, wonderful opportunities to discuss and sing and remember Sri Hari. As a result, material nature would have swept all of us. Even with our very little attempts on the path of bhakti, we feel that we are being swept by the waves of the illusory energy. Imagine if Prabhupada wouldn't have come. We all would have been preparing ourselves to enter another mother's womb for sure. So I want to start by offering my gratitude and my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Then I want to offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Vairagya Chudamani, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Satchitananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahashai, who blessed the world with the appearance place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Vaishnav Sarvabhauma, Sri Srimad Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who did Akhand Dhamvas, 70 years in Navadvip and 70 years in Vrindavan in the same body. I bow down at the lotus feet of Narottam Shamananda Srinivas, who took the works of the 6 Goswamis. Also, I want to bow down at the lotus feet of Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladev Vidyabhushan, all of the wonderful commentators on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And not to forget the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, headed by Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami, etc., who have lived their life according to the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam has 2 features. One is the Grantha Bhagavat and one is Bhakta Bhagavat. So our Hari Prabhu, while he was serving Srila Prabhupada as a personal servant, he offers his memories and remembrances by saying that Srila Prabhupada told me that you should always be with me 24 hours a day. And he says that I literally took it. And I would stand outside the bathroom. And when Prabhupada was resting, I would stand outside the room. And I would just wait all day and night. Sometimes even at night, if Prabhupada wakes up, if he wants water, if he wants something, I would sit there outside the door. So he explains that one thing that I learned by being with Prabhupada and observing him is that Prabhupada was so disciplined. He would do the same thing at the same time every day. And then he goes on to say, but what was really fascinating was not his discipline, but was the fact that he was a breathing Bhagavatam. The 12 cantos of Bhagavatam describe different aspects, different qualities of a great Vaishnava. Like, for example, the qualities of Gajendra described, the qualities of Sudama described, the qualities of Ambarish Maharaja described. But if all these qualities had to be practically put in one person, he said it was Srila Prabhupada. I saw him, how he was so surrendered to Krishna in all circumstances. So therefore, our 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan not just wrote the commentaries on the Srimad Bhagavatam like Sanatan Goswami and Jiva Goswami, etc., in a very professional way, but they actually lived through those pages and they were breathing, they were living. Every drop of blood in their body was vibrant with Krishna Prem. And what was coming out of their heart was penned down as their commentaries. I bow down at the lotus feet of Shachinandan Gaurahari, who ultimately came down to relish the Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Gadadhar Pandit at Tota Gopinath. These pastimes make more sense when we take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swarup Damodar Goswami has said, anybody can study Srimad Bhagavatam and read Srimad Bhagavatam on their own and gain some intellectual some theoretical understanding of all the pastimes. It is possible. But Swarup Damodar Goswami has said, if one really wants to know the deepest secrets of Chaitanya, of Srimad Bhagavatam, then Jao Bhagavata Pado Vaishnaverasthane. Bhagavatam must be studied at the feet of a great Vaishnava. At the feet of a Vaishnava who is doing bhajan. At the feet of a Vaishnava who is realized. Who is breathing and living and thinking and feeling Srimad Bhagavatam. Not just for 1 hour of Hari Katha or 2 hours of Hari Katha, but 24 hours a day. He or she is only thinking and speaking and remembering and living Srimad Bhagavatam. And then during the class, they're just verbalizing what they're living. So when we hear from the lips of such a person, Swarup Damodar Goswami said that Tasmin Mahan Mukharita Madhubhis Charitram Piyusha Shesha Sarita Parita Shravanti, that the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam will enter the heart and will become realization. It will not just be in the head as theoretical jnanam, but it will enter the heart as vijnana, as experiential, realized, completely digested knowledge. So therefore Swarup Damodar Goswami has said, Jao Bhagavata Pado. Go. Go means go. Really find a great Vaishnava. Jao Bhagavata Pado Vaishnaverasthane. Go and seek a very high class Vaishnava and sit at his or her lotus feet and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Ekanta ashraya karo chaitanya charane. And in your heart, be completely absorbed and surrendered to the lotus feet of Shachinandan Gaurahari. Why? Because someone can, being a conditioned soul, read and understand something. And they may even hear from a great Vaishnava. But if that great Vaishnava is not in line with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will not realize completely. If someone is not under the Anugatya, under the guidance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then they cannot realize what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realized. And what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realized? He realized Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. And Radharani's bhav and prem is the source for the prem of Gajendra, the prem of Prahlad, the prem of Dhruva, the prem of Ambarish, the prem of the Pandavas, the prem of Kunti, the prem of Bhishma, ultimately comes from the prem of Radharani. So if Mahaprabhu has realized that prem, then the person taking shelter of Mahaprabhu will give a small atom of his realization in the heart of those who are taking shelter, and that person can realize the prem of all these devotees in the greatest depth possible. Chaitanya bhakta gana nitya karo sangha tathapi janiya say siddhanta samudra taranga. Swarup Damodar Goswami has said, therefore Chaitanya bhakta gana nitya karo sangha. Take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and hear Bhagavatam from a great soul, but daily associate with the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because of this COVID-19 thing, we are not able to associate with the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, we wanted to become Kovida, which means expert in Sanskrit. And therefore, we wanted to have a conference call where all the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can come together. Chaitanya Bhakta Sangha, Bhakta Gana Nitya Kara Sangha. So daily we must associate. So till the time this coronavirus doesn't surrender to the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and leave this place, we will continue our Harikatha. Nitya Kara Sangha. Tathapi Janiya say Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. Only then the waves of Siddhanta will touch the shore of one's heart. Then we want to bow down at the lotus feet of Shukadev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, and finally Shri Radha and Krishna, who have manifested in this world as Srimad Bhagavatam. So today being the first session, we were very, very happy and glad to have the introduction of all the devotees, to know how many devotees are joining and blessing us with their presence. Also today being the first session, we want to spend the remaining 30 minutes that we have on a very specific verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. The series will go for more than 14 sessions, we would believe so, or at least 14 sessions of 2 weeks. So today's session will be creating our eagerness to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I request the devotees to kindly open up Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 2. It is a very famous verse. Many devotees may have heard it and even memorized it. So I want to request all the devotees if you can kindly open up this verse so that we can discuss it together. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute kim vapairairishwaraha sadhyoridhyavarudhyatetra kritibi sushrushubi tatkshanat. So this verse is a memorization verse for all of us because it is very important and it glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam at great length. Our Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would have a very interesting pattern. He would speak Hare Katha, he would speak on the verse assigned, but before that, for an hour, he would glorify Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So he would speak, he would do his bhajans, he would sing Vaishnav bhajans, and then he would speak about the Bhagavat Mahima, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam for an hour. And then he would start his class and speak for about 2.5 hours. And then taking questions, he would have the royal staircase conversations going down the steps of the temple into his room for another 45 minutes. So in this way, about 4.5 hours of Bhagavatam was an everyday affair for Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. It is described that Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would have headaches if there are no classes on Srimad Bhagavatam. He would tell his personal servant, you should get some devotee at least one person, so that I want to share Srimad Bhagavatam. And when Gaur Govinda Maharaj would share Srimad Bhagavatam for about 2-3 hours, then he would have some satisfaction that today I have spoken some Hare Katha. So in this way, our acharyas have shown how to be attached to this very wonderful text. Also, it is described that Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would wake up at 2 o'clock and he would read Srimad Bhagavatam and also memorize a few verses and recap old verses. Of course, his schedule changed as his preaching began, but these are those days when Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj had more time, especially the time when he was spending to translate the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam in Odia. So he would wake up 2 o'clock and 2 to 4, he would study Srimad Bhagavatam and then he would spend about half an hour recollecting and having a recapitulation of the old verses that he has memorized and another half an hour for memorizing newer verses. So in this way, Brahma Muhurta used to be 2-3 hours of studying Srimad Bhagavatam and another 4.5 hours of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. This is this very wonderful text of Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's see what this verse has for us this evening. So, Dharma projita kaitava is the first phrase. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, first of all, kicks out all cheating religion. And we have mentioned this many times in the past also. Even in our discussions, we mentioned this point that Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out all cheating religion. But the point to be noted is what is religion? Religion is not to be practiced to either be in this world successfully or to get out of this world successfully. That is not the purpose of religion. Krishna did not manifest jivas so that they can come out from his wonderful, compassionate personality and then come in this world and forget him. That's not the purpose of manifestation of jivas. And nor is the purpose of manifestation of jivas to come out of Krishna and then come into this world and then go to Brahma Jyoti and then have no seva. Why would Krishna create jivas to quote-unquote transcendently hang out in the Brahma Jyoti or to forget Krishna and play around in the courtyard of this world? Krishna has actually created jivas for a specific purpose, and that is to serve him. So religion is meant to actually make jivas introspect that who is God, where does he live, why has he created me, why am I in this world, and by employing what process can I do what he wants me to do. This is actual religion. So when other texts in our Vedic literature teach us paths how to be happy in this world, it is cheating because it is not fulfilling the actual purpose of religion. Religion is actually meant dharma, although religion and dharma are not the same as far as translation is concerned, but just for simplicity of our discussion, we are saying religion. So religion is not meant to be here in this world. So those texts from the Vedas which say, by doing this yajna or by performing this vrat, you will get a long life, or you will, all your apurna kamana, all your unfulfilled desires will get fulfilled, or you will have a son, or you will get a very wonderful spouse, or those who don't have wealth, dhanavan, those who are dhana, hina, they will become dhanavan, they will become filled with wealth, aishwaryavan, rupavan, etc. This is not the purpose. Other texts are teaching us. Also, there are texts which teach us how to get liberated, how to go to Brahmajyoti, etc. But Prabhupada taught us SSR, the science of self-realization. True dharma means to understand Swarupa Siddhi. Siddhi means perfection, and Swa means one's own, and Rupa means form. To understand, how do I look, and what seva does Krishna want to take from me? Why did the Creator create me? To understand this, that is the ultimate perfection, and that is the ultimate purpose of dharma. So Srimad Bhagavatam, throughout 18,000 verses spanning over 12 cantos, only focuses on this. Never ever ever in any canto, any chapter or any verse, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that, oh, by doing this, you will be happy in this world, or you will go to Brahmajyoti and there will be Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. No. Srimad Bhagavatam always talks about bhakti and how to go back to Krishna and serve him and please him. So therefore this is called as dharma projita kaitava. To throw away everything that is temporary. To throw away all desires, throw away all ideas, everything that is temporary, everything that is a slow, fleeting process is to be out. Anything apart from the ultimate goal is to be kicked out. So for example, if someone deserves to have $5 million, but someone convinces him that, oh, you deserve only $100, that is cheating, because we are not giving him what he actually deserves. So if the jiva deserves to have darshan of Radha and Krishna, but you end up convincing him that you will become Indra, that is a big cheating process. Although the person gets very fascinated, thinking that I could become Indra in comparison to being in this material world. Although that seems to be fascination, like $100 seems to be something in comparison to not having anything. But still it is insignificant in comparison to $5 million that you actually deserve. So this is one kind of cheating. Another kind of cheating is when someone on the other side of the story, instead of taking, one is the side of the giver. If one thinks that I can give $100 and convince the other side that it is actually $5 million. So those are those jivas who can do temporary things and think, oh, I have done something very great. This is cheating from both sides. So when Shastra cheats, we deserve 5 million and Shastra is giving only $100, other Shastras. On the other hand, jivas want to get cheated. They want to do very little and try to gain something temporary. They want to pour in only $100 and act as if they have poured in 5 million. So Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out both kinds of cheating and establishes parodharma, which means, oh jiva, you deserve to be in the kunjas of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Therefore, we will drag you by force, even if you don't want to. The mother puts in the medicine in the mouth of the child, even if the child cries. But the mother will never give a candy and cheat the child by not giving the medicine. So if one mother can do this, what to speak of Srimad Bhagavatam? In the 4th canto we see, when Dhruva Maharaj goes to his mother, Suniti, she tells Dhruva Maharaj, oh dear child, I am unfortunately your mother and I can give you love only that of one mother. But if you go into the forest and if you find Vishnu, Vishnu can give you the love of millions and millions of mothers. So please don't go find him. So that Vishnu is non-different from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam gives the love of millions and millions of mothers, which means no cheating. Every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is only for the parodharma, ultimate benefit of the jiva. So this is the first phrase, dharma projita kaitava. Kaitava means cheating. It has been pra-ujjita, completely uprooted. Dharma projita kaitava. The kaitava dharma has been uprooted. Now second phrase. Nirmatsaranam satam. Who is the qualified candidate for Srimad Bhagavatam? The word nirmatsara is very interesting. The word matsarya means envy. And nirmatsarya or nirmatsara means non-envious behavior. Satam. Satam means to have divine qualities. Sata. Sat means satya. So those who desire to walk on the path of truth and those who are non-envious, they are actually qualified to accept Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is more opulent than all the diamonds put together. So there must be some qualification. There must be some yogyata, as we would say, to accept Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is nirmatsaranam satam. One must be sincere. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is patita pavan. He is not kapata pavan. He is not the uplifter of those who are duplicitous. He is the uplifter of those who may be fallen, but they are sincere that I want to make advancement. Jadi tumi rakte chaho gaurangera sane, choto haridaser katha thake jeno mane. Jagadananda Pandit in Prema Vaivarta describes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept even those like Jagai and Madhai, provided they say, oh, Shachinandan Gaurahari, oh, Paramadayal Nityananda Ram, we are very, very sinful. We have made so many mistakes, but we want a character change. Then Mahaprabhu will help. Not for those who want to keep their legs in both boats. They want to sin in this world also, and they also want to go back home, back to Godhead. The story of Ajamal is very rare, so we can't imitate that. So, Nirmatsaranam, one must be free from envy. So Jesus Christ, he said that before it was said that you should love your neighbor. But Jesus Christ said, but now I say, not just your neighbor, you should love your enemy. That is Jesus Christ's philosophy. And even Srimad Bhagavatam has described the same thing. It is described, Swastyastu Vishwasya Khala Prasidatam. The Bhagavatam in Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 9 has described, let the whole world be happy. For those who think, oh, let the good persons be happy and let the bad persons suffer. Srimad Bhagavatam is not meant for them. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for whom? Sarve sukhina santu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for those who think those who are good, let them be happy. And those who are wicked and bad, well, let them also be happy. Let them be pacified. Let everyone be happy. The mood of Prahlad Maharaj, that ultimately let everyone be happy. So if this is our mood, then Srimad Bhagavatam will open himself to us. Also, the word matsarya, which means envy, is very similar to the word matsya, which means a fish. So it is described that the fish has a fishy mentality. As in English we say, I can smell something fishy here. I feel something fishy here. Fishy means something which is, it looks simple, but it is not that simple. So the fishy mentality or the matsya, fish means matsya, or the matsaryata, the word envy or matsarya comes from matsya, the quality of the fish. Because when newer babies are born in the fish pond or in a pond or in a lake, then those who are getting older in that same pond, they think very soon these small fishes will become big and I will become old, which means I will become the food for them. So before they kill me, let me swallow them up. So the mentality that before I am finished, let me finish. Even if that baby fish may or may not have that mentality, but that insecurity in the heart, that before I am finished, survival of the fittest. Like we see now with this this coronavirus thing, all the shops are empty. The Walmart is empty. The Indian stores are empty. Everywhere all the aisles are wiped out. So people are not thinking, what will happen to someone who wants to eat and who doesn't find it? Let me keep something for them. But no, as much as I can grab for myself, at the end of the day, I want to live. My family should have enough food to hoard and to be successful and be comfortable. Even if that means someone else has to die because I'm taking more than what is needed, that is fine. So this is Matsaryata. This is Matsaryata. So Srimad Bhagavatam will not open up for someone who is filled with this fishy mentality. One must be nirmatsaranam. Although one may have envy in one's heart, one should sincerely desire that, oh, may my heart become purified. In the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see the upliftment of Amogha. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touches the chest of Amogha and removes all his envy, he tells Amogha, you are a Brahmana, and the heart of a Brahmana is the sitting place for Sri Hari. It is not the sitting place for envy. So please, envy, throw this envy out. Envy means no vacancy. So we should throw envy out of our heart with no vacancy. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam can then open up and give complete mercy. So this is the second principle. Now the third point mentioned in this verse is Vedyam Vastava Vastu. So Vastu means an article or an object or a circumstance or a person. And Vastava Vastu means the real object, the real person, the real circumstance, the real article, the real substance behind this whole creation. So as we know, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 18,000 verses. But the root that was given to Brahmaji, it is called as the Chatushloki. Canto 2, chapter 9, text 33, 34, 35, 36 are the 4 seed verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the first verse, the Supreme Lord says, Aham evasam evagre nanyat yat sad asat param paschat aham yat etach yo vashishyet sosmyaham. The Supreme Lord tells Brahma the same principle, that before creation, O Brahma, the person who exists is me. And after annihilation, O Brahma, the person who remains is me. And during the creation process and the maintenance process, the person who lives, breathes, and exists but is not seen is me. So basically, the Vastava Vastu, the actual person who exists beyond everything, is Sri Hari. What we see are houses. But what are the houses made up of? They are made of different articles. What are the articles made up of? They are made of molecules. What are the molecules made up of? They are made of atoms. And when we go one after another, dig completely deep in, you come to a point, a cause beyond which there is no cause, and that is called Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is the Vastava Vastu. So Srimad Bhagavatam talks about he who is playing hide and seek with the jivas. You see, we as children, we play hide and seek and we get so much pleasure. Where are we getting this mentality from? We are getting it from Krishna. Krishna loves to hide and the pure devotees love to seek. They find Krishna in all circumstances. They find Krishna in all objects. They find Krishna in all persons. They find Krishna everywhere because their consciousness is searching for Krishna. Classic example of this is a paper mouse. Let's make a paper mouse with a string and let's throw it in front of a cat. And as we move the string attached to the paper mouse, the cat starts jumping behind the paper mouse. But the cat is not intelligent enough to see this paper mouse is being controlled by a string and the string is controlled by a human. So instead of looking at the paper mouse and the string, let me just look at the person who's controlling it. The cat will never do this. The cat will run behind the paper mouse. But on the other hand, when we do that in front of a human, the human would look at the paper mouse and then would look at the string and then would look at us and laugh. That what are you trying to do? You think I'm going to fall for this paper mouse when I clearly see you're the person who's controlling it? So this is true knowledge. Vastava Vastu. Those who are dull-headed, less intelligent, they are illusioned. They are completely baffled and bewildered by the paper mouse circumstances of this world. They are bewildered by the paper mouse interactions in this world. But those who are intelligent, Buddha, they see Vastava Vastu. They see that the paper mouse circumstances are moving because of the hand of God. So the famous goal that we know in soccer, The famous Maradona goal is called as the hand of God. It became very famous when he hit the goal with his hand and everyone thought it was not with the hand. The goal was called as the hand of God. But it's interesting. Ultimately, it's the hand of God which is controlling the whole creation. Everyone is moved by the hand of God. Every circumstance is moved by the hand of God. Every person is moved by the hand of God. So if someone is coming and is born as our child, then we must understand it is Krishna in his heart, in the heart of the child, who is hiding from us and coming as my child. Not that the child is Krishna. We are not saying that the Jiva is Bhagavan. But we must understand Krishna as Paramatma is appearing in the body of my son. So externally I may see him as my son. But those who are intelligent will say, Krishna, you are playing hide and seek. Inside the body of my son, you are hiding. So if I can see that it is you, how do you want me to serve you? Krishna will say, I'm going to misbehave according to the script. And you as the father, your duty is to chastise me. That's your role in this drama. So when we chastise our son, thinking that he's my son, this is Maya. But when we chastise our son, thinking that, Krishna is hiding in the body of my son, and he's playing this naughty role of mischief. And according to the script of the drama, it is I worship Bhagavan by chastising him when he's appearing as my child. This is Vastava Vastu. So Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us that ultimate vision of seeing Krishna in all circumstances, in everything. So Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu, when one does this, then it is Shivadam. Shiva means auspiciousness. So therefore Lord Shiva is called Shiva because anyone who approaches his lotus feet, ultimately Lord Shiva gives them Krishna Bhakti or Ram Bhakti. We know so many great saints who approach Lord Shiva and worship Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva blessed them with Krishna Bhakti. So because he always brings in auspiciousness in the life of his devotees, he is called Shiva. And Mother Parvati is called Shiva. Lord Shiva is the shorter A, Shiva. And Mother Parvati is the longer, the bigger A with the mouth open, Shiva. Just like the Supreme Lord is called Ram, but his consort is called Rama. Like that. So Shiva Dam. Da means to give, to benedict, to bestow. So this Srimad Bhagavatam gives Vastava Vastu, the vision to see Krishna in all circumstances. And this brings in auspiciousness. If one can see that my Lord is only bringing this circumstance. If there is death in the family, it is my Lord who has appeared. Mrityuhu sarva haraschaham. Krishna says in the Gita, of all the snatchers, I am Mrityu. So when someone is not aware of this fact, when there is Mrityu, he cries in sorrow. And when there is birth of a child, he cries in happiness. But when he sees the Vastava Vastu in all circumstances, even in Mrityu, he will see Mrityuhu sarva haraschaham. What is this? This is not Mrityu, this is my Krishna, appearing as Mrityu. This is my Krishna, appearing as my son. This is my Krishna, appearing as favorable circumstance. This is my Krishna, coming as sorrow. So if we are able to see Krishna, then Shivadam, it is auspicious. And by doing that, what happens? Tapatraya unmulanam. Tapa means heat. Traya. So there are two meanings to this. Tapatraya means Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, which means basically material existence. When we live in this world, we are tormented by suffering caused by the mind, suffering caused by others, and suffering caused by natural calamity. This is one meaning of Tapatraya. Traya means three and Tapa means heat. Another meaning of Tapatraya is the heat which is caused in our mind. The heat which is caused by our words and the heat which is caused by our actions. So the heat of our mind are the promptings of lust and anger. The heat of the tongue are things that we speak in a very inappropriate way. And the heat of our activities are the karmic reactions of the mistakes that we make. So this is also called Tapatraya. And this happens because of being embodied. The soul never makes mistakes on the level of mind, words, and body. It is because he becomes embodied in subtle and gross bodies that he makes mistakes. And he faces the heat in the form of anxiety in his mind. Or let's say he's speaking very harsh things through his tongue and through the karma in his body, the actions. Karmana manasa vachasa. So this is also called Tapatraya. So basically, whether you take it as Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, or you take it as Karmana, Manasa, Vachasa, one thing is for sure, it is happening because of being in this body, taking a body in this world. So Unmoolanam, Moola means root, and Unmoolanam or Unmulit Karna, which means to uproot. So when we are able to see Krishna in all circumstances, then Shivadam, everything is auspicious, and Tapatraya Unmoolanam, which means repeated birth and death is uprooted. The tendency to take another body is uprooted. The tendency to enter another mother's womb in this material world is uprooted. Completely uprooted. When we are able to see Krishna's hand in all circumstances, this is called reality. And when we are not able to see Krishna's hand in all circumstances, this is called Maya. Very simple. So when Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat kinjidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. In the Gita, Krishna gives the example of pearls which are strung on a thread. We are all seeing the pearl necklace, but we don't see the thread which goes between those pearls, which is actually keeping those pearls together. So similarly, in this world, everyone is very fascinated by the pearl necklace of circumstances. But we don't see the invisible thread of Krishna's hand going through all of that, which is actually keeping everything together. So if we see that thread of Krishna's decision-making, Krishna's hand, this is called reality, Vastava Vastu. And if we don't see that, it is called Maya, illusion. Very simple. Now third line, Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute. This Srimad Bhagavatam has been Krita, has been composed by Mahamuni. So one meaning of this is, this has been composed by Vyasadeva himself, who is a Mahamuni. Why Mahamuni? Vyasadeva is Muni. Why would Vyasadeva talk about himself as Mahamuni? Where is the humility there? Well, he is not talking about himself with pride. He is saying Vyasa is Muni, which means Muni is he who does Mauna, which means he keeps quiet. And Muni is he who contemplates. So Vyasadeva has contemplated enough by writing everything. But he still remained a Muni because everything was silent in his life. He was a Muni. But when Narad Muni touched his life, he became Mahamuni. So the Mahanta in the Muni comes from the Kripa of Sri Guru. So Vyasadeva is saying Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute. This has been composed by Vyasa, who is Muni, but in his matured state by the Kripa of Narad Muni. So another meaning is Mahamuni also refers to Narad Muni, who is actually composing Srimad Bhagavatam, making Vyasadeva the instrument. Another meaning of Mahamuni is Sri Krishna himself. The Srimad Bhagavatam has been given in the heart of Brahmaji and finally coming down to Vyasadeva, ultimately coming from Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is the Vedanta Krit, Veda Vit Eva Chaham, as in the Gita. So he is the compiler of the Vedas, culminating in Srimad Bhagavatam. For the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the Mahamuni here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Srimad Bhagavatam existed, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu honey-ladened it with his devotional practice. So he realized it, as we were previously mentioning. So therefore, if the Srimad Bhagavatam has been given as the final work in the stage of maturity by Vyasadeva, then Kim va paraihi? Next question asked is Kim va paraihi in the verse. What is the need of any other literature? Someone will say, well, this is a very fanatical question. Who would make a point like this? Humility means to say, actually, all the other works are good, my work is not good. Or to say, my work is just as insignificant as other works. But here Vyasadeva says, if this Srimad Bhagavatam is read, what is the need for any other literature? Why? Because the purpose of Shastra is not to gain knowledge. The purpose of Shastra is not to memorize verses. The purpose of Shastra is not to know stories. The purpose of Shastra is not to know Sanskrit. The purpose of Shastra is only one, to meet Krishna. To see face to face, to see God. This is the purpose of Shastra. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens? Kim va parai Ishvara sadyo riddhi avarudhyate. When someone reads Srimad Bhagavatam or hears Srimad Bhagavatam, Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord, riddhi avarudhyate, gets stuck in the heart of the listener. Riddhi means consciousness, and avarudhyate means to be stuck. So Krishna enters the heart, the consciousness of the jiva who is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and as he enters, the door shuts from behind. So Krishna is now crying, help me! Please someone help me! This devotee here has bound me with the ropes of love. Please help me. So our Bilva Mangala Thakur has very beautifully sung. Kara grihe vasasada hridaye madiye mad bhakti pasha drida bandhana nischala san tvam Krishna he pralaya koti shatantarepi sarvasya chaura hridayan nahi mojayami. Very, very beautifully that, O Krishna, I will bind you completely in the Karagraha, in the prison house of my heart, and I will bind you, Mad Bhakti Pasha. I will bind you with the handcuffs of my bhakti, of devotion, and I will throw you into the prison house of my heart so that now you can never leave. So on what basis is Bilva Mangala Thakur saying this? On the basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, if someone is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna gets stuck in the consciousness of the listener, then Kimva Paraihi. What is the need for any other Shastra? Because the purpose of Shastra is to see Krishna face to face. And by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, if you can see Krishna face to face, then your purpose is met. If you have a bicycle and you have to go to the shop, you can take that bicycle and you can bike your way to the shop. And you can get whatever you want and come back. So when you can do that with one bicycle, why do you need 5? The purpose is not to have 5 bicycles. The purpose is to go to the shop. So similarly, the purpose is not to read so many books. The purpose is to see God. So when God can be seen by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, then Kim va paraihi. What is the need for anything else? Now other processes, they give fruit only after a long time of practice. But here it is described, sadhya. Sadhya means immediately. As soon as one starts hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, sadhya. Kim va parairi ishwaraha, sadhyo hridhi avarudhyate. Sadhya means immediately. As soon as the person starts hearing, Krishna gets stuck in the heart of the listener. Sadhyo hridhi avarudhyate atra kritibihi. Now please note, the word atra has been used 3 times in the same verse. Dharma projita kaitava atra nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute Kimva Parairi Ishwaraha Sadhyo Hridya Avarudhyate Atra. Why would the same word be used 3 times? Is this a fault of redundancy? No, the word atra means here, which means yes, you can get uprooted from material existence here, right here in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can have auspiciousness. You can have the darshan of Vastava Vastu, seeing Krishna in all circumstances here. And yes, here, right here, by hearing these pastimes, Krishna will be stuck in your heart. So the word atra is for emphasis, to say yes, here, 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 in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can bind Krishna just by hearing. So sadhyo hridhi avarudhyate atra kritibihi. Now here's a very interesting word. Kritibihi. Kritibihi means those who are accomplished. The listeners of the Srimad Bhagavatam must be kritibihi, which means they must krita. Kriti or krita means to do something, to accomplish. So they must be prepared very nicely in their consciousness. What this means is, in the Srimad Bhagavatam we see, there's a very, very beautiful verse. In Canto 11, Chapter 3, Text 48, Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. And this verse has been mentioned. Labdhva graha acharyat tena sandarshitagamaha mahapurusham abhyarchen murtya bhi matayatmanaha. Which means Krishna is mentioning to Uddhava, who is that person who is a kritibihi? Krishna says they must have 4 things. 1, they must have receive the mercy of a great soul, an acharya. Labdhva anugraha acharyat. They must have received the mercy from a great person. Now that could be taking Diksha, Harinam and Brahmin Diksha, both. After receiving that, so by taking Diksha, we can say we have received the mercy of our Gurudev. So this is point number 1. Point number 2, one must align to the instructions of our Gurudev, especially with respect to chanting and hearing and deity worship, archan, chanting Gayatri, Vaishnav relation, karmana, manasa, vachasa, everything properly. So point number 1, one must receive it from one's Gurudev. Second, one must sincerely try to follow in their footsteps. 3, by following this for quite some time, there must be substantial cleansing of the anarthas. And 4, there must be no broken furniture in one's consciousness. Divyad vrindaranya kalpadrumada Srimad Ratna Agara Simhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtali Vi Sevyamano Smarami. It is described that Radha and Krishna sit on a jeweled throne. So for Krishna to sit in our heart, the preparedness should be, there must be a jeweled throne in our heart. That is the sincerity to receive them. But at the moment, we have a lot of broken furniture in our consciousness. A lot of material desires and aspirations. So these 4 things are important. 1, one must have received the mercy of an acharya, the paddhati, the process. Second, one must try one's best to fulfill the teachings and the expectations of one's Gurudev. 3, by practicing dirgha kala for some time, there must be substantial cleansing in the heart. And 4, there must be sincere desire, lobha, lalasa, utkantha, to have Krishna. So this is the purport of the word kritibihi. When someone is kritibihi, accomplished, then Krishna is entering. So there must be some preparedness in the consciousness. So kritibihi, sushrushubihi. Now this is interesting. Sushrushubihi means even if one has a desire to hear. Till now we were talking about if one hears Srimad Bhagavatam. But sushrushubihi means even if one desires to hear, then what happens? Tat kshanat. That very moment, Krishna enters the heart. Now it's interesting. Previously the word sadhya meant immediately Krishna enters. And tat kshanat also means immediately. That same moment Krishna enters. Does this mean there is the fault of redundancy again? No. One understanding is there is emphasis that very moment, don't doubt, Krishna has entered your consciousness. That is why you feel happy while hearing Hare Katha. Because happiness comes from Sri Krishna. When we hear Hare Katha and we feel a sense of satisfaction and joy and happiness, it is coming from Krishna. So he has already entered the consciousness. This is meaning number 1. But meaning number 2 means the word tat kshanat. Tat refers to Krishna. Like we say Om Tat Sat. There tat refers to Krishna. So here tat kshanat, tat refers to Krishna. And the word kshana, apart from meaning moment or second, kshana also means utsava, ulhasa, festival. So this desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam is tat kshana, is in itself a festival of joy for Krishna. Tat means Krishna and kshana means joy. So Krishna feels very happy. He feels very joyful in his heart that, a jiva has started to develop the desire to hear about me. So in this way, to celebrate along with the jiva, the festival of happiness, Krishna enters the consciousness of the jiva. So in this way, we understand dharma projita kaitava. Quickly, we are doing a recap of what we did. Dharma projita kaitava. Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out cheating religion and establishes the path of bhakti. And not just some bhakti, it talks about nishkam bhakti, selfless bhakti. And not in Vaikuntha, but ultimately leading one to Krishna Loka, and in Krishna Loka, in Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan to the very beautiful groves of Radha and Krishna. So this is the ultimate dharma for the jiva. Second, we discussed the qualification to receive Srimad Bhagavatam is nirmatsaranam satam. One must desire to be non-envious, desiring good even for the bad, and giving up the tit-for-tat mentality and fighting tooth and nail mentality. And Vedyam Vastava Vastu, Atra Vastu. we mentioned about how Srimad Bhagavatam gives the vision to see the Vastava Vastu, the hand of Krishna, the paper mouse moved by the string, the hand of Krishna in all circumstances, who loves to play hide and seek with the jivas. Those who are able to spot him in this play of hide and seek, they are happy. But those who are not able to spot him in this hide and seek, they are bewildered by the happenings around, and this is called Maya. And by developing the desire to see Krishna in all circumstances, by the path laid down by Srimad Bhagavatam, Shivadam, there is all auspiciousness, and Tapa Traya Unmoolanam, all suffering in the form of repeated birth and death is uprooted. Then we spoke about Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute. Who has composed this? Vyasadeva has composed this by the mercy of Narad Muni, inspired by Krishna in his most matured state of contemplation. And therefore, Kim va paraihi, what is the need for any other Shastra? Because the purpose of Shastra is to find God. So by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Ishwaraha Sadhyo Ridhi Avarudhyate, the Supreme Lord gets into the consciousness of the listener and very happily gets bound up there by the ropes of love. And we mentioned about how the word Atra has been used 3 times in the same verse to give emphasis that yes, this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Srimad Bhagavatam will give you that goal just by surrender, by hearing, reading, and by discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam, the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sadhyo Riddhya Avarudyate Atra Kritibihi. We spent some time discussing Kritibihi on the basis of Canto 11, Chapter 3, Text 48, where Krishna tells Uddhava about the 4-point qualification of someone who is a Kritibihi, who has accomplished, who has prepared his consciousness by 1, receiving the mercy of an Acharya through Diksha, 2, getting trained in the principles of Archan and chanting Gayatri and all of these things, chanting Harinam, etc. 3, substantial cleansing by prolonged practice. And 4, by developing sincere desire and eagerness to find Krishna. So if someone has prepared their consciousness like that, Kritibihi, then Sushrushubihi, just if they desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, even before they hear, their desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Tat Kshanat, that very moment, Krishna enters the consciousness. Finally, we also mentioned that the word Satya and the word Tat Kshana means immediately. Srimad Bhagavatam bears fruit during the process and not at the end of the process. There are so many yajnas. After completing the yajna, we get the fruit. You perform 100 yajnas, then you get the fruit. But here Srimad Bhagavatam, Sadhya. As we are hearing, as we are speaking, as we are contemplating, the fruit is being accumulated. And Tat Kshana also means the same thing for overemphasis. But at the same time, another meaning we mentioned, Tat refers to Krishna. As the phrase goes, Om Tat Sat. That Krishna is eternal, like that. Tat. Tat Tvam Asi. Tat, that Krishna. So Tat refers to Krishna. And Kshana also means Ulhasa, my Utsava, festival of celebration. So Krishna runs into the consciousness of the speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam, listener of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because he wants to celebrate in the heart of such a devotee. So with this Srimad Bhagavatam being glorified in our first session, I want all of us to have our appetite whet with this desire that all these days we will sincerely sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Because what happens is that oftentimes on a conference call, we end up washing dishes and listening, driving our car and listening, and doing household work and listening, putting it on mute and talking with our relatives and listening. That is also good. It is better than not listening. But we must note, Krishna goes by the principle, Ye yatham mam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham. As we approach him with sincerity, he reciprocates with sincerity. And that same Krishna is none different from Bhagavatam. So if we give one pointed attention to Bhagavatam, and we hear and write down and take an attempt to dive deeper in these principles in our heart, then Srimad Bhagavatam will reciprocate and give one pointed mercy to the listener of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this was our first session to our series. Tomorrow we will start our discussion, continuing from here, going into the importance of the pastime of Gajendra Stuti and what the other acharyas have mentioned about Gajendra. And then we'll get into the 8th canto, 2nd chapter, into the story of Gajendra on the basis of Srila Prabhupada's purports. And time and again, we will reference Vishwanath Chakravarti, Sanatan Goswami, Jeev Goswami, and Sripad Vallabhacharya's commentaries in this section. I went little over time today, 11 minutes over time, because we had a late start with the introductions and the beginning, setting the scene, so to speak. So please kindly forgive me for going over time. For those who want to be added to a group where daily information about the time, the joining time, the class time will be posted, please kindly send a WhatsApp message to the number +1 404 414 6094. I repeat this again, 404 414 6094. Please send a WhatsApp message to this contact, and you will be added in a WhatsApp group where daily information about the class timing will be posted, because it won't be the same for the weekdays and the weekends, because tomorrow being Sunday, some temples are also having their Sunday feasts over local conference calls. So we don't want to overlap any of that. So tomorrow's time will be posted in that group. So please kindly send a message. I'll repeat again to +1 404 414 6094. You will be added in that group, and daily information about the joining information and the time, etc. Or in case if there's no class on a certain day, that would be posted there. I really want to thank all the devotees from all the cities in America and in Canada joining in. I heard devotees from Baltimore, I heard devotees from DC and Toronto and Connecticut and Boston and Florida and the Bay Area, Berkeley. We had devotees joining from Austin and Dallas and so many other places, including Atlanta. So really very, very grateful. See you tomorrow with more exciting revelations of the Srimad Bhagavatam given by our acharyas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.